Breaking news this morning, the extreme weather that hit overnight. And take a look at these incredible pictures coming in. The lightning raining down on New Jersey last night. Violent storms knocking out power for 500,000 on the East Coast, stranding an Amtrak train between Pennsylvania and New York. And ABC's Tom Yamas is in Washington Township, New Jersey this morning. Tom, good morning.
David, good morning to you. This is the dangerous situation some are waking up to in the Northeast. Right next to me, a 50-foot maple tree that came down in the storm. The neighborhood shook when it came down. That's what residents told me. And here's the real danger. The power lines. Look at this. They're everywhere. They're on the street. They're hanging from the trees. And some are so scared they're not even leaving their driveway this morning.
This is a tornado!
Overnight, violent storms striking the East Coast. And a nightmare for more than 100 Amtrak passengers bound for New York City, stuck on the tracks for hours after a transformer exploded in the heavy winds.
All the power went out on the train, the lights went out, and then they said, you're going to stay on this train, and the other train's just going to push this one all the way into Philadelphia.
Frustrated passengers taking to social media after no power and no lights, one tweeting, "Trapped Amtrak, 654 from Harrisburg to New York Penn. No air, no food car, tornado sirens for 5 hours, no explanation." All this as power lines snapped in half with winds reaching 70 miles per hour.
I grabbed my kids and I ran in the basement.
This morning, nearly 500,000 people left in the dark.
I've never seen anything like this.
In New Jersey, heavy winds flipped this car over. Parts of this shopping center severely damaged.
It was crazy winds. They were coming straight down the street.
Across Pennsylvania, trees uprooted, some ending up in houses.
I came up and looked out the window, out the door, and I couldn't believe what I saw.
Her car and home destroyed. And check out this lightning flashing behind our capital as those storms reach the East Coast. And now this morning, the cleanup begins. And we have an update on those Amtrak passengers. They were supposed to arrive at 8:15. They didn't get there till 1:30 in the morning. As for this neighborhood, you can see the power lines are down. There is no power here. They're being told it could be 2 to 3 days. And Robin, with this warm weather, that's going to get really old really fast.
Breaking news, that freight train carrying toxic chemicals catching fire in Maryville, Tennessee, forcing thousands from their homes. ABC's David Curley is in Washington with the latest. Good morning, David.
Morning, Robin. We're talking just one rail car here, but fire and officials say this chemical involved has led them to tell 5,000 people they need to evacuate, get out of their homes, and get away from that area. It is a toxic cloud that is on the move this morning near a Tennessee town. One CSX car caught fire in the middle of the night on a trip to Georgia.
I started hearing brakes being pulled. It's what sounded like brakes, a lot of smoke, and so I thought maybe something was going on.
Just one car involved, but the chemical burning used to make plastics is toxic. So in a 2-mile area, firefighters are going door to door telling people to move away.
Based on the chemical flume and the direction it was heading, they've had to expand the evacuation area, and our command post even had to relocate because it was in danger of being exposed.
Nearly 24 first responders have been or are being taken to hospitals for decontamination as a precaution. Now, this chemical is acrylonitrile. It's also known as vinyl cyanide. It is flammable, and the danger comes from breathing it in. So far, though, no serious injuries have been reported, George.
Thank goodness for that. Okay, David, thanks very much.
To the extreme weather this weekend. 45 million people across the Midwest and the Plains bracing for severe summer thunderstorms, packing damaging winds, large hail, and flash flooding. And Rob is here. Rob, teach me how to speak, please.
Just let him do the weather.
The problem with summer thunderstorms, they're not only tough to say, but they're kind of scattered across much of the country. We got them across the Northeast today, but a strong complex of thunderstorms right now. Moving across Wisconsin, we have a severe thunderstorm watch out till 9 o'clock Central Time. This is the same line of storms that moved through Minneapolis just a few hours ago.
Overnight, the skies lighting up in Minneapolis. Thunderstorms firing across the U.S. In Salida, Colorado, 4 people struck by lightning, leaving 1 dead.
From the state.
And in Kentucky, as storms roll in, Sam Smith, giving a concert in Louisville, escorted off stage. Then chaos as concertgoers run for cover. Luckily, no injuries, but that outdoor show ending early.
I can't even see the center of the road. It's anything.
In South Dakota, hail hammering down. drivers getting pelted. And watch as these huge ice chunks pummel this golf course, some the size of baseballs. And this morning, residents cleaning up after 7 confirmed tornadoes ripped through northern Illinois and Iowa earlier this week, snapping trees, tearing roofs off homes, and destroying cars.
All of a sudden, all I kept hearing was, it's all gone, it's all gone, it's all gone.
More tornadoes possible today and tomorrow. The main threat is going to be some damaging straight line winds and
extreme
frequent
weather
lightning
coast to coast, from the Carolinas all the way to California. Flash flooding and damaging thunderstorms.
The Southwest especially hard hit. Look at the radar from the last 6 hours. The atmosphere crackling with rain and thunder and lightning. And Rob is, of course, all over this story this morning. Rob, good morning to you.
Good morning, Dan. This is the monsoon season where we get thunderstorms in the desert Southwest. But this is what's left over from a major Hurricane Dolores. Moisture that's beneficial for California, but a tremendous amount of tropical moisture causing all sorts of problems across the desert Southwest.
Overnight, torrential rains leading to flash flooding across Arizona. Up to 4 inches of rain falling in just a few hours.
Oh my God, this is in Wickenburg. Can't believe it.
All that water running downhill quickly. Watch as these campers are overtaken by raging floodwaters.
Scary. Really scary.
In Phoenix, this time lapse showing storm clouds moving in, bringing a heavy downburst of rain and wind. In Southern California, lightning and severe thunderstorms left thousands without power and shut down beaches on Saturday.
The threat is very real. Lightning strikes can be deadly.
In Ohio, dramatic lightning streaking across the sky, and bolts of lightning from dangerous storms in North Carolina. A powerful storm with lightning striking the steeple of the Bethlehem Baptist Church in Taylorsville, North Carolina Saturday. 100 firefighters were called in to battle the blaze. One person was injured and treated at the scene.
Deadly extreme weather, which is happening right now. Typhoon Dolor is unleashing a powerful 1-2 punch of hurricane-force winds and heavy rain. Taiwan is the direct target. Lives have already been lost. And ABC's Neil Karlinski is right there on the scene from Taipei. Neil?
Paula, this morning, much of downtown Taipei looks just like this. Huge trees down in the middle of the road. Just look at the roots on this one. And there are others down there blocking as well, all of them blown over at the height of this typhoon. Typhoon Dolor blew in overnight with 100-mile-per-hour winds and lashing rain, cutting off power to some 2 million people here for a time. Down trees everywhere, debris. We had our own trouble trying to capture the typhoon's power on camera.
One of the coastal cities that are likely getting hammered.
Once it was safe enough to drive Taipei's streets, we found a city that looked like it had been through a shredder. An entire row of cars were crushed by a series of trees, uprooted by strong winds. The wind blew in with such force it peeled the side off of this building here and just threw it all across the street over here. Taipei 101, one of the world's tallest buildings, was kept steady by this massive counterweight, captured on surveillance video swaying inside more than ever recorded, including earthquakes. The storm has now moved on to the coast of China. ABC's Bob Woodruff is there.
This is like unbelievable sand.
In Taiwan, outside the capital city, a family of 5 had to be rescued from their home after floodwaters reached nearly the 2nd floor. Across this country, more than 100 people were injured. At least 6 people have been reported killed so far. The worst has passed this morning. Right now, Taiwan is assessing the damage and cleaning up. Bad as it is, people here are thankful because they fear this one could have been even worse. Dan?
We are thankful as well, and thankful that Neil is okay.
And
we
Bob
turn
as
to
well.
the extreme weather we're following here tonight. Heat advisories and warnings in 7 states, a flash flood watch here in New York, and dramatic images coming in. Streets turned into rivers in parts of Colorado. Macomb, Illinois, listen to this. Quite a crack of lightning, and in Lansing, Michigan, semi-trucks plowing through those floodwaters. And let's get right to Chief Meteorologist Ginger
Let's get
Z.
the latest now on the mysterious blast at a popular Rhode Island beach. Investigators now trying to determine if an electrical line that runs under the sand might have triggered the explosion. ABC's Lindsay Janis has the story.
Overnight, investigators digging up an electrical line running under this popular Rhode Island beach to see if it caused the powerful explosion that sent a woman flying through the air Saturday.
The last thing I remember,
was reading my book.
60-year-old Kathleen Denise hitting the jetty. The impact knocking her unconscious, breaking 2 of her ribs. Overnight, state police visiting her house.
No comments.
Electrical workers digging in the sand near the very spot where Denise was launched into the air, shutting off power Monday evening before severing that electric line.
We want to make sure that everyone's safe.
Even using pickup trucks and rope to pry it from the ground. But officials refusing to comment on whether the line was active at the time of Saturday's blast.
You could feel the whole thing like a mini earthquake.
The beach reopening within 24 hours of the explosion, even though investigators are still trying to determine what caused it.
Would you feel better if they knew what happened before they reopened the beach?
Yes, I would. I would love to know what really caused that.
The Rhode Island Department of Environmental Management releasing a statement saying the public safety remains our top priority.
This is that electrical line this morning under police tape. It runs right down to the spot where Kathleen Denise was injured. But again, investigators telling us they're still trying to figure out what caused that blast. George?
Okay, Lindsay.
Was ist das?
Ich habe keine Ahnung, der Junge da unten guckt auch. Ich weiß es nicht. Was aber?
Tschüss.